Your professional expertise can make all the difference for a nonprofit serving the community.
Melanie Goodyear, Site Director from Jericho Road Pasadena, will tell you how your skills could make all the difference to someone struggling. Thanks for being here, Melanie.
Good morning.
Melanie.
So what is Jericho Road? Let's get into it.
So essentially what we do is help nonprofits be good nonprofits. Most nonprofits are so busy feeding hungry people, rescuing puppies, doing their good work, that oftentimes they don't have good business operations. They might lack financial infrastructure, technology, board development, those kinds of things.
So is oversight a correct word to use in describing your
more
function?
operations. So we support the good nonprofit operations for local organizations. And we do that by finding skilled volunteers. So if a nonprofit needs to manage their data better, we would go out and find a database architect and build them a good database. If they need a better board of directors, we would help them figure out what their board of directors should be doing. If they need a marketing plan. Those kinds of business aspects that lots of times nonprofits are so busy doing their work that they aren't as great on that operational and business side.
So you kind of work in partnership with nonprofits.
Absolutely, yeah. As one of my friends jokes, she says that I'm like eHarmony for volunteers.
Oh my God.
So I find skilled volunteers that nonprofits need, match them up and get them doing.
Do you have any marriages to report?
So, yeah, most of our projects go really well. So we've helped with everything from website creation to, as I said, board development, to getting nonprofits to have good budgets and financial practices, things that a lot of for-profit businesses do because they have to. But again, in nonprofits, we're just often so focused on our work that we don't pay as much attention to that business side as we could.
So you're getting professionals to volunteer
Absolutely.
their
Yep.
expertise.
Yep.
Now, I was just, someone on Facebook, on my Facebook feed, she is a professional, and she put out there, you know what, I'm tired of giving my free services away. I've done it for so long. Why can't people expect to pay me for my good work? Are you hearing that, or what kind of what do you
No,
hear
on
from
the
people?
contrary. There certainly are times when we have to pay for services, of course, but I think particularly where we're looking at a huge number of baby boomers with 40 or 50 years of professional experience retiring, they want to be giving back, and they want to be using the skills that they have used in their professions. They now want to give those back.
On the flip side of that, have you seen volunteers kind of move on to that next phase in their professional career because of their work with Jericho Road?
Yeah, absolutely. Most of our volunteers are people who already have a really strong, solid background, but we definitely have some like millennials who are gaining professional experience as well. So it's great for the younger folks and especially those baby boomers, especially the people who are anxious about retiring, thinking, oh my gosh, I've worked 80 hours a week for 40 years. What do I do now? You can put all those skills
So, but you're seeing that all across the
so.
board as far as like the age range. You're seeing the millennials,
Absolutely.
but then you're seeing people who've already retired.
Absolutely.
Well, and the millennials, obviously a lot of them are struggling to find jobs, and this might be their kind of, transition. They start out as volunteering intern, they do a good job, might be hired on.
Absolutely, yeah. Or again, just having something to fill the resume, and we have a few
And that doesn't hurt?
Yeah. And we have a few millennials that are, kind of waiting tables and that kind of thing. So what they have on their resume that's professional is their volunteer experience, provides references, fills out their portfolio, that kind of thing.
Interesting. So, that is a really great way to pad up your resume, especially like you said, if you're doing a job like waiting tables or whatnot, you're filled up during the week.
Right.
You've got your volunteer work that you can put up there.
It's much more pertinent.
Definitely.
But now, what about some organizations? Nonprofits, are always working with less resources than they really need. Most of them, majority of them.
Right.
And some just aren't even organized enough to use volunteers effectively. How do you help them with that?
Yeah, so part of my job is to really go in and do a needs assessment to help the nonprofits identify what things are going to help them build their capacity the most. And we really work with some of the very small, no-budget nonprofits that are all volunteer, up to some of the multi-million-dollar organizations locally. So there are some best business practices, and we just try to figure out how to translate those to the different needs of those different organizations. But that's part of my job, to figure that out with the nonprofits.
Well, personally, what I found with my own volunteer experience, you could come in there with a certain skill set, but then you could also pick up skill sets that will serve you.
Right.
That's a benefit maybe not a lot of volunteers consider.
Yeah, that's true. Skilled volunteerism, I think, is a little bit different, and we're seeing a real rise in the amount of people that are doing skilled volunteerism. We have a very specific process. We actually set up a scope of work for all of our volunteers so that it is almost like a pro bono consulting contract.
Right.
They know exactly what they're going to do, how long they're going to take to do it. So most of our volunteers are working within their skill
set.
sets.
It is a national organization. organization.
Yeah, absolutely,
How many
absolutely.
states, do you
So, yeah, we now have 6 affiliates across the country, but there are a number of other organizations that are also really helping, especially again those baby boomers who are retiring and want to use their skills. How do you do that substantively? How do you find the right match
And not
for your
just
skill
busy
set?
work.
Exactly.
Well,
Exactly.
and speaking about your national organization, Jericho Road, where does that come from?
So it's a reference to a Martin Luther King speech. So he was referring to the story of the Good Samaritan on the road to Jericho, and he said that we need to do more than wait until we see the problem right in front of us. We need to be really proactive. So we think that by having skilled professionals go in and really make long-term changes to how nonprofits operate, those nonprofits are going to do better work for years and years to come. So we hope it's a really substantive way to give skills and give back to the community, plus a lot of fun.
And how can people get involved with you? And is there a screening process that you do?
There is. So we are looking for a variety of skilled professionals. Our website is jrpasadena.org, so people are welcome to go on to that. Our local affiliate clearly serves local nonprofits, but we actually have volunteers from India and Australia and virtual
exciting.
volunteers that do.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even think of that.
Yeah,
That's
because if you're a web
amazing.
developer, you can do that from India. as well as from
Absolutely.
here.
Well,
So,
thank you.
yeah.
That is
Thank
great
you.
information to have, and you're doing great work in the community.
Great. Thank you so much.
All right,
Thanks.
thank you.